Good morning, evening, or night, wherever you are. Welcome to WHAM today. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's drift through the whispers of today's world, one quiet thought at a time. As we wrap up Sunday, 1st June 2025, let's see what stories are unfolding around us. China's economic ties, with the US face ongoing scrutiny. Tariffs on Chinese goods have reportedly increased the price of hair care products in the US. The stock market reacted negatively to US accusations of trade deal violations. On May 12th, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and China's Deputy Prime Minister Hu Jiping made an announcement. China's box office is currently facing a slump during the Dragon Boat Festival, though Hollywood films are leading in pre-sales. Analysts are optimistic about Xiaomi, a competitor to Apple, as the Hong Kong-listed stock announced a record net profit for the second consecutive quarter. However, IDC forecasts a 1.9% decline in iPhone shipments in China in 2025, citing competition from Huawei technologies and a general economic slowdown. India's economic prospects are looking bright, with experts like Vinit Bolinkar pointing to robust growth and strong corporate profits, which has led to specific stock recommendations for investors. The Nifty index is poised for a directional shift following a period of consolidation, according to Ajit Misra of Religar Broking Limited. Stocks like Reliance Power, FiberWeb, India, and MEC, all priced on the Yokowo 100, are being highlighted as potentially beneficial. The Confederation of Indian Industry, C, will be headed by Rajiv Memani, Chairman CEO of IA India, for the 2025-26 term. Indigo is expanding its fleet with an order for 30 Airbus, a 350 wide-body aircraft. In a significant cybersecurity event, Coinbase suffered a data breach on May 15th, resulting in losses of approximately $400 million and impacting more than 69,000 customers. The breach involved hackers bribing customer service employees located in India to leak confidential customer data. Australia's economy is seeing both gains and losses. Brookfield reported a significant $1.30 billion within the country. However, WiseTech, an Australian firm, is set to acquire Etwopen for a substantial $2 billion. Elsewhere, Australia's crypto industry is struggling under the weight of net zero policies and high taxation, hindering the growth of digital asset companies. Moving to China, Deloitte China is establishing a global office under the leadership of CEO Dora Liu Da. This initiative aims to assist mainland Chinese clients in their global expansion strategies. It will also help them navigate the complexities of the current geopolitical landscape. Meanwhile, families in China are reconsidering educational opportunities for their children in the United States due to restrictions placed on Chinese students by the previous Trump administration. Saudi Arabia is actively expanding its financial and economic collaborations. The nation is poised to authorize more cross-border financial instruments with Hong Kong. Its June offering of SA savings, Sukuk, opened with a 4.76% return. Demonstrating diplomatic efforts, the Saudi foreign minister journeyed to Syria to explore avenues for enhanced economic cooperation. Furthermore, Saudi Arabia, partnering with Qatar, has initiated a joint financial assistance program aimed at providing support to Syrian government workers. As of now, 80,723 Hajj pilgrims have made their way to Saudi Arabia. South Korea's economic landscape is shifting as exports dipped 1.3% year-on-year to $57.27 trillion, impacted by tariffs affecting shipments to the US and China. This economic pressure arrives at a crucial political juncture, coinciding with a presidential election. Beyond trade concerns, South Korea is also grappling with rising food prices, prompting over 60 companies to increase their prices. In technological developments, OpenAI has announced its intention to establish an office in Seoul. Separately, in a disturbing incident, a man set fire to a Seoul subway car, motivated by anger stemming from the outcome of his divorce suit. Ukraine continues to face a relentless Russian military offensive, even as tentative peace talks are on the horizon. Adding to regional tensions, explosions on bridges within Russia have resulted in 7 fatalities. Ukrainian intelligence analysts project that Russia's financial reserves could be exhausted by 2026 if the war persists at its current intensity. Within Russian-occupied regions of Ukraine, authorities are reportedly coercing Ukrainian citizens to accept Russian passports under threat of deportation. Seeking international support, Yemen's al-Alimi has journeyed to Moscow, aiming to secure Russia's backing for the internationally recognized Yemeni government. Japan's Prime Minister Ishiba is considering a trade meeting with President Trump before the G7 summit in June, driven by anxieties over a possible 24% tariff imposition starting the following month. Japan insists that easy concessions on US tariffs are not on the table and hopes for further talks in June. Adding to its economic activity, Japan is allocating $1 billion towards railway infrastructure and budget support programs. European firms are now reconsidering travel guidelines for the United States, spurred by worries regarding evolving border control measures. The shift comes as European markets display robust activity, drawing in investors seeking alternatives to the somewhat turbulent economic landscape of the US. Turning to the United Kingdom, the government recently debated new regulations on cryptocurrency assets, aiming to establish clearer guidelines for digital currency operations and protect investors. Furthermore, the UK is working to strengthen trade relationships with nations in the Commonwealth, emphasizing economic collaboration and mutual growth. In Germany, discussions are ongoing regarding the nation's energy transition, particularly focusing on the shift from fossil fuels to renewable sources. The German government is also addressing concerns about rising inflation, exploring strategies to mitigate its impact on households and businesses. Across the Atlantic, Canada is experiencing increased debate regarding its immigration policies, with discussions centering on balancing economic needs with social integration. In addition, Canada is actively engaged in negotiations with the US and Mexico concerning trade agreements, seeking to modernize terms and address emerging challenges. Meanwhile, in France, President Macron recently unveiled a series of initiatives designed to bolster the country's technological sector, including increased investment in artificial intelligence and digital infrastructure. France is also grappling with ongoing social unrest, as citizens voice concerns about economic inequality and government policies. Shifting focus to Asia, Japan's central bank is carefully monitoring inflation trends as it deliberates adjustments to its monetary policy. The country is also preparing for the upcoming Olympic Games, implementing measures to ensure the safety and security of participants and spectators. As for Australia, the government is implementing new measures to combat climate change, including investments in renewable energy projects and initiatives to reduce carbon emissions. Australia is also working to strengthen its diplomatic ties in the Pacific region, seeking to promote stability and cooperation. Malaysia has seen the release of several companies' first quarter 2025 earnings reports. British American Tobacco, Malaysia, Berhad reported earnings per share of $0.082, a decrease from $0.1 in the first quarter of 2024. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad also experienced a slight decrease in EPS, moving from $0.057 in 1Q 2024 to RM 0.056 in 1Q 2025. Ukraine is accused of launching a significant drone attack targeting Russian aircraft, while simultaneously projections indicate that Russia's financial reserves might be exhausted by 2026. A U.S. senator issued a warning to Moscow regarding potential sanctions, emphasizing that Ukraine's stance keeps Russia guessing about potential negotiation prospects. As Western sanctions are eased, Syria is positioned to enhance its economic ties with Saudi Arabia. Capitalizing on this development, Saudi Arabia and Qatar have committed to providing financial assistance to Syrian state employees, jointly announcing their support for the Syrian Arab Republic's public sector. In South Africa, Tiger Brands announced a better-than-expected increase in its half-year profit. Meanwhile, Accenture has voiced criticism of its toxic relationship with Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero, citing a disagreement over the budget. Despite existing headwinds, Barclays has identified potential opportunities within Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM, although they have lowered the target price to $215. In related news, Taiwan has revised its 2025 GDP growth forecast downward, pointing to uncertainties stemming from US tariffs. Thousands of Bulgarian nationalists have taken to the streets to protest the government's proposal to adopt the euro, calling for a referendum on the issue. Currency exchange rates in Pakistan's open market were updated on June 1, 2025, providing current rates for currencies including the dollar, pound, and rial. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is slated to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss the ongoing war in Ukraine, as well as persistent trade tensions between the two nations. New car registrations in France saw a 12.3% decrease during the month of May. Separately, a visit to France is being organized to promote and strengthen Australia's trade interests. A walk is being organized in Canada to support the over 322,000 individuals affected by Crohn's disease or colitis. A delegation led by Tharoor traveled to Brazil, seeking to reinforce India's position against terrorism on the international stage. Across Asia, shares initially shrugged off losses, but subsequently rallied as the Brexit vote drew closer. Tensions escalated as the Philippine defense chief engaged in a heated exchange with Chinese officials. And that's a wrap for today's news, because even headlines need a nap. Stay curious, stay kind, and let the noise fade as you find your quiet. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time on WHAM Today.